This week marks the 20th anniversary of Elf, one of the greatest holiday movies that has ever been made. And so with Elf being one of my favorite holiday movies to watch, I'm going to be doing a top 10 list of my favorite pops from the lineup, which includes obviously the one holiday pop that's eligible, the whole movies lineup, and even the NFT pops are eligible for this list. So let's get right to it. So coming in at number 10 on my list is the Box Lunch exclusive Buddy the Elf with the snowballs. Now this is a pretty cool pop. It's a very memorable scene, of course, because there are the bullies that are chucking these snowballs at Buddy and his brother, or adopted brother, I guess. So then Buddy obviously gathers a bunch of snowballs and super fastly throws them at the bullies. So that's pretty cool that they made it here in pop form. However, I felt that there was definitely some more moments that they've done in pop form that I felt was better executed than this one. Although this still is pretty cool, I just like some of the other Buddy the Elves, of course, better, considering this is at number 10. Coming in at number 9 on my list is Ming Ming from the Elf NFT set. Now this is actually pretty cool. I mean, this is one of those obscure characters that you don't really think of, so it definitely made sense to be one of the redeemables for the NFT set. Of course, Ming Ming being the one elf that I believe is the one that mentions like, oh, well, Buddy's gonna have to find out sooner rather than later about the fact that he's actually not an elf. So that's really cool. I love the detail, obviously, of the red outfit. He's holding the cup of, I'm not sure if it's coffee or some sort of drink. You got the glasses there. That's really cool. So they pulled this pop off very well, and I do enjoy the fact that this was a pop made for the NFT set. Coming in at number 8 on my list is Papa Elf. Now, of course, you definitely need a Papa Elf when it comes to the Elf set, considering that he is the narrator as terms to the Elf movie. And so I think this pop was pulled off pretty well, where obviously his arms are out, and then you have the glasses and of course his regular elf outfit. I think it'd be really cool at some point if they made a Papa Elf pop where he's sitting on the rocking chair and then Buddy is laying on his lap. I think that would be pretty funny, considering that with that pop it'd be like it's a 6-inch pop, because the Buddy the Elf would have to be 6-inch and then the Papa Elf would be the regular 4-inch, because of the size difference between both Buddy the Elf and the rest of the elves in Santa's village. So that would be a really cool pop, but this pop nonetheless is still cool, and it's got a decent posing, I guess. Coming in at number 7 on my list is Jovi, of course being the love interest of Buddy the Elf throughout the movie. I think they did this pop very well with making the hair exactly how it is. Obviously she's wearing the hat and she's holding a teddy bear in her hand. Of course she is working at the one Christmas store, so that's really cool. Obviously there definitely had to be a Jovi pop. I think they did it very well here, and even though this is kind of a spoiler, I do like this one better than the NFT pop that they did, but nonetheless that one's still not too bad, but this one I'd prefer to have over the other one. Coming in at number 6 on my list is the Buddy the Elf with syrup. Now this was technically actually like the first pop of the first wave that was done for Elf, because of course for the longest time all we had was the Pop Holidays Buddy the Elf, and then they decided to actually make waves with different characters, including multiple versions of Buddy the Elf, and this is really cool. Of course he has the syrup, because obviously elves eat the 4 different main food groups, being syrup, candy cane, candy corn. I actually forgot what the 4 main food groups were, but you get my drift. It's one of the 4 main food groups as terms to what elves eat. So it's really cool that they have that, of course. Would have been funny actually that instead of the Jack-in-a-Box chase, that maybe he would have had the full bottle of Coca-Cola, considering that he does chug a whole 2-liter back. So that would have been pretty funny because it goes along with that scene, but nonetheless, having the syrup in his hand is still pretty cool though. Coming in at number 5 on my list is the Toys R Us exclusive Narwhal. Now, for the longest time, I feel like this was a lot of people's favorite Elf Funko Pop, and a lot of people were excited for the fact that Mr. Narwhal was getting his own Funko Pop. We all know that famous scene, "Bye buddy, hope you find your dad." So that's really cool that Mr. Narwhal got his own pop by himself. Really simplistic, but it gets to the point. A blue whale with the horn on top of it, and then you have the nice smiley face. I think they translated this character very well into pop form. I feel like it's a very underrated fan favorite character. And speaking of Mr. Narwhal, he kind of makes the list again. The deluxe Deluxe moments they made for Elf. Now, this is really cool. Of course, once again, Mr. Narwhal kind of makes the list twice here because he is featured there. I like the idea that they basically recreated this scene as one of the moments. Did it have to be in that huge box like they've been doing for the deluxe moments? I don't exactly think so. I think really the box is so big because they wanted to show off obviously the background with the northern lights and everything. But I think if you would have made the box a little bit smaller, maybe even close to half the size that it is, I think it would have been way better, considering you definitely would have had more room to show off more pops in your collection there. But I do like the idea that they were going with, where you can feature Buddy the Elf, you got Mr. Narwhal, the Arctic Puffin, the little animal there, so you have all of the different animals in the scene with Buddy the Elf. Obviously, Buddy is waving. Mr. Narwhal is also waving. So that's really cool. Coming in at number 3 on my list is the Buddy the Elf eating spaghetti from the NFT set. Now, this was a cool version of Buddy the Elf to make, especially for the NFT lineup. Of course, he is eating spaghetti and it's got all of the candy and the syrup all over it. And I think more specifically, though, in the exact moment in this pop, I believe is when he's eating it in the kitchen while everyone is gone, and he hears the mysterious noise, and then he calls his dad asking about what the noise is, but it's just, I believe, like the radiator or the heater in the kitchen or whatever it is. I only watch Elf once a year, so my memory's kind of dull, and I could have rewatched it before this video, but of course, Remembrance Day hasn't happened yet, so I feel like you should respect your soldiers before you actually watch the holiday movies, because they sacrifice their lives making sure we have a great Christmas holiday. But as terms of this pop, this is excellent. It's one of the best Buddy the Elf pops, in my opinion, of course. Coming in at number 2 on my list is Leon, which is also from the Funko NFT set. Leon is one of those characters that people have been wanting to be made into pop form for a long time, and then of course when it was announced that an Elf set for the NFTs was happening, you kind of figured that Leon was going to be a part of this set, and they did an excellent job with this. Of course, he's got the sunglasses, he's got the jacket and the hat, and then the blue with snowflake tie, and even with the redeemable now being in the hands of people, it actually looks pretty decent. I feel like the glasses, though, could have been a little bit darker to not show the eyes, but nonetheless, it still looks cool, and I feel, once again, kind of like how I mentioned about Mr. Narwhal, it's one of those characters that, of course, aren't the human characters that I feel like people have been wanting for a long time, especially me. I definitely wanted a Leon pop to be made. And before we make it to my number 1 pick, I'm going to mention 2 honorable mentions for this top 10 list. So the first honorable mention on my list is the Jovi from the NFT set. And I kind of brought up earlier about how I do enjoy this pop because it is the pink outfit in the end of the movie, but I feel obviously if you're going to choose one or the other, you'd rather have Jovi in her regular green outfit. But this is still pretty cool and has a decent posing compared to the other one. And then my second and last honorable mention is the original Buddy the Elf. And the reason I chose this is because, of course, it is the original pop, and it wasn't even for the movies lineup at the time, it was for the Pop Holidays lineup, number 10 more specifically, and you can definitely tell that Buddy the Elf pops have definitely gotten better as terms to detail as time went by, compared to what we have here. Like, yeah, you can definitely tell a little bit that it is Will Ferrell, but then with newer pops, it's like, yeah, that's more like Will Ferrell's. But nonetheless, it's still a pretty decent pop, even in today's standards. And now, coming in at number 1, my favorite Elf Funko Pop is the Funko Shop exclusive Buddy the Elf with Raccoon. This is an absolute amazing pop, considering that it may be one of, if not the most memorable scene when you think of the movie Elf. I don't know how many people don't think of the scene where obviously Buddy arrives in New York and the first thing he sees is a raccoon, doesn't know that it's kind of like a rabid animal, so then he goes for a hug and a kiss, and then the raccoon jumps right on him and starts attacking him. Very funny moment as terms to Elf, and I'm glad, of course, that they made this into a pop form, especially at the time. I think it was a part of the 12 days of Christmas drops, so each day there was a Funko Shop exclusive, and of course this one being announced for the holidays, it definitely made sense. So that's really cool that they made this pop, and yeah, definitely, in my opinion, the best Elf Funko Pop. Anyways, guys, that's gonna be the end of today's video. If you enjoyed today's video on my top 10 list of Elf Funko Pops, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know your favorite Elf Pop down below, and I hope to see you guys in the next video. 1, 2, 3, I'm out of here.